This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry with your hosts, Linda Bruno and JJ Wilson.
Welcome back to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. I'm Linda Bruno, and you
JJ
are...
Wilson.
Hi, JJ Wilson.
Hi.
I love your... Is that like a 1920s hat?
Yeah, it's Janine's. Yeah.
It's very nice. And you
you.
have an interesting shirt on. What are you wearing?
It's flamingos.
You look like you're wearing 3 shirts.
Well, I am, because it's like 27 here. But of course, in the studio, it's 900. Hang on. This is hot. Okay.
There you go.
I'm a man of many hats. Well, you know, really, we are. We're people of many hats.
We are.
We are. Because
We
we
have
go
to be.
from one hat to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next during a, like before we started our recording this morning, I got like 5 auditions that I had to do within an hour, and they were just on all ends of the spectrum.
Are they? Like what?
Well, I did one for, and as a matter of fact, the agent wrote back. I love it when they do this. They said, "Great work."
Nice.
For an audition. I can't, let me just move that over there. And one of them was for cattle and meat, which was really fun.
So what was this? What are the specs on that?
The specs were 30s to 50s, strong male voice, not high or nasally, clean, not too whispery, but more matter-of-fact delivery. Okay to have some typical beef commercial-sounding guys. So I have
Like
that.
Sam Elliott?
Yeah, Sam Elliott. You know, it's beef is what's for dinner. Yeah, you know.
So what did you do with it?
Pretty much that.
You did that kind of read.
Yeah. Who really has the best beef? Meet the facts. Only 6 out of 100 cattle are good enough to get our good name on it. Only 6 out of 100. Makes you wonder who's buying the rest. You know. Good copy. I loved it. I loved it.
Nice.
I loved it.
What else did you get?
This one was for
What was on the other end of the spectrum?
the other end of the spectrum. A delivery, warm, friendly, conversational, strong and confident. We're educating, so delivery should come across as well-informed, well-versed, but should not feel rushed. That ought to be enough direction. And it was about welcoming immigrants from all over the globe. Talked about the immigration system and if you're having trouble, so a little bit heartfelt there. Then I did an e-learning thing, you know, about scope and delivery and capture and closeout and structure and performance, a typical e-learn.
So
And-
if e-learn for you is what, a more straightforward approach?
Yes.
How do you approach that?
The
turn my light on.
description said they'd like a more experienced executive position sounding voice, not a younger preppy voice. Below is some sample copy. So I just kind of winged it, just very matter of fact, but friendly enough so that they can listen to me for 8 minutes without getting annoyed. You've got
Right.
to really make it sound like you actually are talking to one person who is watching this video, and I'm training for Booz Allen.
Yeah. Oh, I did that same one.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I
okay.
did that same one.
Did you get it?
Oh, no, not that I know of.
Me either.
We just did it though.
Oh, yeah, that was like 8 minutes ago. And then I did it wasn't an audition. It was a quick session for a client, a Memorial Hospital in Florida. And it was what we were talking about during our last podcast, where they send me something that's done in a scratch. This guy has an English accent.
Ooh.
The scratch track, and he never takes a breath, and he talks like this. So call me now, and just say stop.
Of course it is.
Don't
yes.
give out the patient's information. You could get fired. And I'm trying to keep up with this schmuck, breathe. So that's what I did in the hour that before we did this.
Cool.
So, and I just got another audition from Go Voices, which I'll do after.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have to do a few after we're done too.
Yes.
I've had recently, probably in the past week, a lot of medical auditions.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I went to
Like-
the doctor a lot. Does that count? No.
Like for pharmaceutical,
Oh,
for
yes, I've
drug-
done a
for
few of
drugs.
those. Yes,
Yeah, that
drugs.
seems to be the popular thing right now.
That's
but
the one perk of having a wife who works at a pharmaceutical. I get to try everything out, man. It's just awesome.
Oh.
Yeah.
So now you can't get an in there for doing any of the VO?
No, because I'm related.
Oh, shoot. Really?
Yes, if you can believe it. And they do a ton of stuff.
Oh,
But they said,
God, that
we
would've been
can't
good.
use your husband. You work here. It's bigotry, or whatever that word is.
Bigotry. No, what's it called? Where you? Nepotism.
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 Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. And we know nepotism is never done.
No, never. At least you're not going to enjoy the perks of that.
Right. Nope. But I do get to what she brings home, the samples. So I took one before the session. It's awesome.
Well, I did yesterday for UCN, the Comedy Network. I had to act like an actress announcing the Golden Globe nominees. And then I had to act like a really whiny millennial.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do I have to?
Yeah. And I
you
have
got to
one
start the car before you drive it.
And I have one today that's just titled Karen Master. So I assume I have to act like a Karen. You know what a Karen is?
Oh, I do indeed. I met a Ken the other day. At the oh yeah, I was not happy. I walked into Goodwill. Janine and I go to Goodwill every now and then to look at their old furniture that we pick up old stuff and bring it home and either cut it up into pieces and make a dog out of it or refinish it and sell it or what have you. But I walked in and the first thing I saw was about a 19-year-old cashier with no mask whatsoever.
Oh.
And I looked at her and I said, there are mask laws. Did you not see the signs on the door? There's 9 of them. So I have a medical condition. I don't have to. And I went, well, I believe Tennessee law says that if you can't wear a mask, you have to work in the back. So you're not dealing with people because this is not, it doesn't get on the clothes. It's airborne. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, so I talked to the manager who was like 22. And he was as big of an a-hole as she was. And so finally I went home and I called corporate. I got a hold of the district manager.
Wow.
I kept calling for 3 days.
Wow.
And I said, do you have video in there? She said, yes. And I said, watch it on Sunday around noon.
Wow.
And so a lot of heads are going to fly there. So, yeah, I've met quite a few Karens and Kens. Yes, yes. I love the one guy says, the particles are so small they go through the mask anyway. And that's my favorite because that's why doctors wear them, so the particles can go through into the patient's uterus.
Well, I don't know if that's a Karen or a Ken. I think that's just a stupid person.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
but a lot of
sense
medical
of
you've been doing. Getting back to the point, he said very swiftly. Yes.
Yes, very, very coolly, calmly collected.
A
lot of medical.
I talked about the medical I did for the, it's the equivalent to Cologuard?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
we can't talk about that again. We've talked about it.
Okay, well
and
then
you
I
made
don't want
me
to because it
laugh.
was a pain in the butt anyway.
Oh,
As a matter of fact, my Cologuard came today.
that's fantastic. Now, we
Yeah.
were going to talk about some other things.
Let's
weren't
talk about
we?
the Cologuard and how it's going to go.
No.
Wait,
we're
I'm getting
not.
the urge. No, I'll
Oh,
be able to wait.
stop.
I'll be able to wait.
Okay, please.
Okay.
Please. Now that we have video going, we
Right.
don't need to see things.
Right. And this
right?
time I'm just going to put a sample in and not the whole thing. I don't know why they don't want the whole thing. I don't.
Come on.
Anyway.
Come on, really?
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Really? So,
They probably opened the box and went, ooh, God. Yes, Linda.
lessons from a successful voice actor.
Well, we
Can
better
you
call
share
somebody.
any lessons from your life? Simplified lessons, maybe something we haven't touched on, which is very tough because we've touched on a lot of things.
Lessons. Yes, the lessons that I've learned from doing voiceovers with clients and things like that have taught me to be more. Well, they give you character traits like patience. I've really had to learn patience because sometimes you're working with people on the phone who just are overthinking it to death, or are, the people like, that tell you 1 out of 3 people and the one says, I'm the one who didn't want you.
Right.
You have to learn to put up with that, deal with it, and turn it into something positive. And you have to learn patience, which has helped me in everything else I've done. And a lesson that I've learned is kind of a strange way to put it, but is this job is fantastic because it gives you free time. During the day when most people are sitting behind a desk, we do that mostly. But there are days where we know it's going to be quiet, right after we've done the rush for a holiday. We know that we can take probably the day off before. And it's given me the opportunity to do a whole bunch of really cool things in my life that I probably wouldn't have been able to do had I had a regular 9-to-5 job.
Oh, that's great.
One day I was watching a video on, I don't even know if YouTube was around then, but I saw a video of oh no, that's what it was. Somebody gave me a birthday present of a glider ride.
Glider. Oh,
Yeah.
actual glider ride.
I went and took a glider ride, and man, that was cool. So at that point, I was divorced and a single parent with full custody of a 2- and a 4-year-old.
Wow.
And so I did ground school at home. I decided to become a glider pilot. And on weekends, when they were with their mom and I was doing this, I'd drive to Palm Beach, and I took 80 flights before I soloed. And then I can still remember. It just gives you an opportunity to do more things.
Yeah.
Like it's cool that I got a barn 30 feet away, so when this is quiet, I can go out there and be creative. And the lessons that I've learned here with patience and everything help with all of that. I used to, in the old days, I used to just glue stuff together and give it a quick sand and go, oh, it's done. Now it's like Janine says, it's done already. But I've gotten it, because in this business, you have to be pretty perfect.
Yeah.
In order to get through a session, you can't make any mistakes. There can't be any. By the
Right.
time you get done, you have to have a completely finished file that's perfect,
Right.
or to their liking. And so it's taught me a lot of things about life. How to handle the ups are wonderful, the downs are
Brutal.
Sometimes they are just absolutely brutal.
Right.
And it's taught me to deal with those, and it's amazing that I am capable now of going, there'll be another one.
Yeah.
And I move on. But in the old days, man, that used to kill me.
Yeah.
It used to kill me. So those are
Yeah,
some
you
of the
have to
lessons
work
I've
through
learned.
that. And
Yeah.
that's the tough part if you're not used to it.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Because maybe you haven't had a job in a while, and then you lose a client.
Right.
And then it just compounds the
Yep.
feelings
And
that
then
you already
you call
have.
me or I call you, and I'm going, are you quiet too? And you go, yes. And I go, thank God.
I freak out. I would say that one of the lessons I have learned over the course of my career, and this has to do with my father, and God rest his soul, but when he raised me, he was from the New York area, and we were from Texas. So he would always say to me, business is hard. Life is hard. You're going to have to work your butt off, and it's just
Yeah.
a hard path. And so I had that in my brain, but then I got into this business, and I got into creative, like radio, and hard is one thing, but it was really enjoyable. My father gave me the impression that I was going to be miserable because he was miserable in his corporate world.
Right.
But that did not come to pass for me. I wound up finding success and actually being happy along the journey.
I left the studio the other day, and I walked out in the living room, and I sat down and I went, man, that was fun. And,
Yeah.
it's something I've done 5,000 times, but it was a different piece of copy, and it was fun. And yes, you're exactly right. And that's
Yeah.
why I think that, in our world today, they're cutting out music, they're cutting out drama, they're cutting out this. But by God, we're going to rewrite the math, how you add two numbers together, though. You need the other. Mm-hmm. You need the other. To this day, or in my next life, I'm going to come back and be a musician. Definitely. I was a musician in high school, and I had a knack. Everybody in my family is musical. I was in several bands and this and that. And my mother was a jazz singer, and a really good one. And my first wife was a prodigy guitarist. I mean, this woman was amazing.
Wow.
At 17, she was scary. My son turned out to be so musical, I thought he was ill. And but yeah, they need that. We need this, and people who aren't happy with their jobs It's a tough situation. You got to pay your bills, but I say do whatever you can to do something else.
I
Because
know
you have
my
to do
father
it your
was
whole
trying
life.
to. Yeah, these are my choices that the choices my dad made. And that was his path.
Yep.
And I know he was trying to protect me.
Yes.
Because I told him I wanted to move to New York, and he was like, "Oh my God, it's so tough up there. You're going to have such a tough time. You're going to hate it." And unfortunately for him, it made me want to do it even more.
Yeah, and that's what happens. Yes.
Right, because I'm like, well, you seem to think it's it didn't turn out that way, thankfully. But yes, if you follow your passion, I know I say this all the time. If you follow your passion, it's not going to be the work isn't going to be that bad.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to endure the dry spells and the quiet times. It's quiet for me right now.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Lots
and
of
it's
auditions.
Yeah, I busy myself with other things because we run a business, so it's a holistic approach. There's other things that have to be dealt with.
Oh, absolutely. The other day it was the weirdest thing. I haven't done a new demo in a long time or thought of marketing, but since you and I have talked about that recently, and with the students in the Wednesday night classes and students who are just getting into the business and things like that, it made me start thinking. And then all of a sudden I found myself sitting here working on a brand new demo and doing photography shoots in the studio with Janine. And we're redoing my website, and every now and then you just get that bug. And it's if nothing else, I love your email signature. It's got your name and whatever, and a nice picture of you. And I want to put my demo there, just a link on every email I send out, so that it's right there.
You can with VoiceZam.
VoiceZam?
Yeah, VoiceZam. Z-A-M.
Z-A-M.
Yeah, VoiceZam.com it's a voiceover player.
Right.
And you can put all of your demos in there with your branding. My player on my website is a VoiceZam player. A lot of voice talent are using it now. And you can create what they call a Zam link. And you can put it into, like I use Wise Stamp for my signature. I get a lot of comments on the signature.
Yes.
Wise Stamp. And in that, you can put the VoiceZam link and just say, "Hear my demo." And that way somebody from the email can just click it and hear your demo.
Okay.
Yeah. They go to the link of where it's hosted. But write it down, JJ. Write it down.
VoiceZam. And what's the other called? Babinga? What?
WiseStamp.com.
Wise Stamp. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Very cool.
And I know the number
stuff.
to Yellow Cab if you ever need it.
Yellow Cab.
777-7777. Okay. So now we've exchanged information. But yeah.
But your creativity flowing as you're saying, you go and you start to work on a new demo. You guys do a photo shoot. It's your creativity gets sparked.
Yes. Just
again,
all for, I don't know what the reason was. You and I spoke the other day, and we were talking about being tired of marketing. We've been doing this for a long time. And after you've been doing it for as long as we have, it's hard to cold call somebody, go, "Hi, I'm JJ Wilson, and I've been doing voice." "Yeah, I just got 100 demos before you called."
Right.
And you kind of go, "Why am I bothering? I've got the old clients, but, they come and go." But you kind of gave me the inspiration. As a matter of fact, I think it was you who did this. So, and you said you got to get back to work on that. And I said to myself, well, I really should too. And that's another lesson I've learned.
That you have to,
You got to keep reinventing yourself.
kick in with it.
Which makes it different than
marketing.
a 9-to-5 job. If you're the senior manager at a paper company, you don't need to reinvent yourself. You just keep doing the same job with maybe a few new ideas. But with us, as we age,
Yes.
it was a completely different thing when I was in my 20s. I was, doing everything. But now all I get is Cologuard and, are you Blue Cross Blue Shield?
But it's important that you're introducing yourself to a new audience.
Right.
Of people
it's
potential
reversed.
hiring.
Instead of me being 20 and everybody else being in their 50s, now I'm the old guy and all the producers and directors are in their 20s and 30s.
Right. And they
And
may
we're in a
not know
different-
who you are.
Right, exactly. And it's a different era.
Right.
My kind of reads still exist, thank
Yes.
goodness. But
Yes.
there is a whole nother read there that I can't do. I can't do the millennial read.
And
I
that's
don't
okay.
sound,
You don't
that's
need
fine.
to.
I make money with the voice I have.
Exactly.
So
I know that in my last week of sending out emails and LinkedIn contacts and doing my reach out, I had 40 contacts that were set up that were viable, of which 3 were dead, like the company went out of business or whatever. The person disappeared. And the other 37 I reached out to. I've heard from 2. So that's like the percentage. And you just say, okay, that's fine, you know? With some of these CRM systems, you can track and it'll tell you if somebody opened the email.
Right.
So a few of them have opened it. They just don't reply to me.
Right.
So that's fine. It's a numbers game. It's like, okay, let's go get another 30, another 40, and let's do that. It's a long process. For me to reach out to 10 people, I've calculated, takes me 2 hours to
absolutely.
fully do it. To research it, make sure the lead is good, make sure I'm reaching out to the right person. Make sure my email is not boilerplate,
right.
Hello, sir. It's like you have to be, you have to be diligent with it to customize it.
And then there's the other end of the spectrum where you do send out the demos, and a year and a half later they call. I've said this before.
Right.
You just never know. All of a sudden they go, oh, God, he's good. Mm-hmm. Well, Jesus, that was 1927 I sent you the demo. And now you're calling? I don't even sound like that guy anymore. But anyway, yes.
You just have to commit and just don't worry about it if you don't hear from anybody. It's just, that's not how things work.
I have found in this business that when I get like that, something always comes along.
Yeah.
After this long, and it's allowed me to relax between.
That's
if
good.
it goes too far, then I don't get relaxed. I call you.
Yeah.
And I go, Linda, what are we doing here?
I would say the last 10 years I've calmed down about the slow parts. Mm-hmm. But prior to that, I was freaking out. And I still had regular clients, but I was still freaking out. Like anxiety of, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills next month.
Yeah.
So thankfully now, I guess at this point, after doing it for so long, you finally go, another client will call. They will, there's just way too many people out there.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you continue to audition, you continue to try to reach out to people, make some connections, something's going to stick.
Yeah.
And that one thing could be like you booking that one job on Voice 123, the Americana Outdoors that you're still doing.
Yeah.
You just never know.
And that brings up a good point. Like you said, there are so many people doing this. That's why you have to be, when you're taking classes from whoever or practicing or trying to get into this business, you got to really be good.
Yeah.
I mean, really good to stand out and to know that they're not dealing with a novice.
That only comes from practice. You have to practice when you're not getting coaching.
Yep.
You got to work on it every day, like all day long, in any capacity you possibly can.
Yep. It's funny, sometimes when I am redoing my demos, if I don't have, I've got them all over the place on my desktop because I'm really good at filing A, B, and 3. Sometimes I'll find one and I go, I would do that read differently now. So I actually transcribe the copy, re-record it, and reproduce it.
Wow.
And put it on the demo. Just because I go, why did I do that?
You've grown since then.
Yes, I've grown. And maybe I didn't like what the producer had in mind for that particular spot. But that's a fun thing to do, too, is just to kind of recreate old stuff. And the other thing about demos is great is so sometimes you find a spot that you absolutely love, and it says something like, and right now, get the new 2013 Ford Fusion. You don't want something that old on your demo.
I know.
So somehow you have to get the 2013 out of there. And sometimes it sounds a little choppy, but right now get a new Fusion and you can,
But the subjectiveness of the demo, too, is so out of our hands.
We overthink it totally. Everybody does.
Yeah. I mean,
they know as soon as they hear the first 10 seconds whether they want you or not.
But it's like you don't know if you're putting the right thing first. You can just do your best. Like I had my demo, one of my agents, this was years ago, said to me, send me your demo because I think we should remix it. Fine. So I sent it to her and she wanted pieces that I was like, really? I mean, in my head, I'm like, you want that at the front? Okay, so I remixed it the way she wanted. In my mind, I was like, I wouldn't have done that. But of course, this is my agent who is casting.
Right.
I thought, well, I'll listen to her. But I still, at that point, I thought, wow, our opinions are completely different on what I fit for. But,
it's all in the ear of the beholder. It really
seriously.
is. I've always thought that if you've got a big account running, that it's best to start with that. But maybe not, because maybe it's completely the opposite read that they're looking for.
Yeah, could be.
It's a guessing game. It's just luck, and it's like throwing darts at a dartboard. Will this be the right read for this audition? Who knows? There's probably 30 to 100 other people doing it.
I had issues, what do they call it, the golden handcuffs, because with Disney, they wouldn't let me put anything on my... No, look at me about... You know what golden handcuffs are, and not in the sexual sense. Because they wouldn't allow me to put anything in my demo or any video on my website.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So it's like, really? You're the voice of Disney Junior for Southeast Asia, so how do we know? So for many years, I couldn't put it. Finally, one of the producers, she doesn't work there anymore, so I can say this. She said, if you find it on YouTube on your own, by all means. So that's how I have some of it.
Okay,
but
gotcha. Okay.
Same thing with Pfizer. For the years that I worked with them, the company that I worked in conjunction with said you cannot mention that you work for Pfizer. And I'm thinking, these are huge clients that would be great for me. And I can't tell anybody that I do. I can tell you I did the perfect bacon bowl, but I can't tell you that I work for Pfizer. So, yeah, it's
it's
an
a
interesting
bowl
thing.
made of bacon. I don't know if you knew that or not.
The bowl made of bacon.
Kind of redundant to put bacon in a bacon bowl, but hey, whatever, I'm into it.
You're into it. So lessons learned.
Lessons learned. Yeah. All right, let's talk some politics. No, let's not.
I think that's great, though, to think about because, and this is what I tell students. I say, look, if you fall in love with this and it's passion for you, you're going to love it and you're going to love doing it every day. And it doesn't have to be this horrific. You can form this fantastic creative work life for yourself if you want.
Yes.
It's in your hands. You don't have to go with a 9-to-5 or whatever you can create whatever it is you want. I'm sounding like a motivational speaker, but it's just true.
Yes, it is.
So you don't have to listen to people that go, no, it's not a real job and you need to pay this and stuff. You may have to balance another job for a while, but eventually you keep at it.
Yeah.
You can create your ideal career.
Yes. It's interesting you say that. Because I loved music, being a musician, so much. And then I had a young son who was just extraordinary. I mean, it was beyond words how good he was. He soloed at Carnegie Hall when he was 17.
Wow.
With a song in Gaelic.
Wow.
With his choir, with the Westminster Choir. Hello.
Yeah.
He called me one day from backstage at Central Park with Celine Dion and Andrea Bocelli.
Oh,
he
geez.
called their choir to sing in the background for him. And I always wondered about his mom, because she was so talented. Mm-hmm. Is she sorry she didn't continue that?
Yeah.
And is he? He eventually went into the Navy and he hated it. And I said to him before he went in, I said, it may take a while, but with the music you've written and the joy that you've gotten out of it, I know it's a chancy thing. Well, I'll be, I won't ever make any money. I'll just be a teacher. And I went, no, not if you have as much passion and talent as you have.
Exactly.
For this, you my God, by now, I think the man would have been a millionaire.
Wow.
He would write symphonies in his bedroom with no musical instruments in there. He would put it in his head.
Wow.
And write it down. And he rewrote 9 Christmas songs in an hour. Kept
So
the same words, but changed the melodies completely.
He just lost interest?
He said he'd kind of done it all.
Or just burned out?
You probably burned out, you sing at Carnegie Hall, you sung in 5 countries, you've done nothing but live, breathe, and eat choir music since you were 8. Yes, but, I said instead of doing what you're doing in the Navy, you could have been teaching, 4th graders to sing.
Yeah, keep with that passion
almost
of...
the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Almost. And by now, I would imagine that, there would have been music published and things like that. But that's just, I always wondered, should I have stayed in music? Should his mother? Should he?
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I was lucky enough to fall into this. because I have equal amounts of passion for this. I still have a great time in here every freaking day. I really
Yeah.
do. It's always a challenge. I love a challenge.
The first thing I ever wanted to do career-wise, honestly, I wanted to become a studio producer.
Oh.
I wanted to produce albums. I wanted to be like, a David Foster or a Mutt Lang.
David
That-
Foster.
Right? So,
I want to
but-
marry him.
no, you don't. He's had like 6 wives.
I know, I know. But what I was watching the other night, he was one of the writers on The Prayer.
Yes.
You know the song?
Oh, God,
And
yes.
Andrea was singing it with Helene Fisher. And that is my all-time favorite song in
gorgeous.
the world.
It's gorgeous.
And when they get to that middle part, I just start to cry. I mean, it's
Yeah.
terrible. But yes, that's the joy that music gives me.
I wanted to do that, but I was too intimidated because it's such a male-dominated field.
Yes.
And when I was a teenager, it's like I'm the one that was listening to the Police albums and I was picking out every instrument and hearing exactly what was happening. So like Dave here at the office is the same way. So we have these crazy conversations of, this bass player in that band and what they played in this band because that's what we love.
Right.
So if I had another life, I probably would have gone down that road.
Yeah.
But as a performer at heart, I don't think I would have had as much fun.
Yeah.
Because I know that I love to perform. You have to love to perform to do this.
Yes.
And doing this, you get that outlet to get on your mini stage every day.
Yep.
So
when I come back, or if I come back, I want to come back as the lead singer from Kansas.
oh God, what a voice.
Oh, my Lord.
What a
Oh, my
voice.
Lord. Do you know that each and every one of them are classically trained?
Really? I can
Yes,
believe it.
yes.
I can believe
and
it.
you know how they got discovered? Somebody heard a tape of theirs, and a big wig. He said, "I want to come down to your state, to Kansas, of course." He said, "I want to check you guys out. You guys are pretty good. Can you put together a little, show?" So they didn't know what to do. So they put up for a 200 square mile radius. They put free beer and Kansas on telephone poles, and they rented out an old library or something. They came to see him, and that was it.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I know we've gotten off topic, but sometimes it's fun to talk about our other loves and
Yeah.
things. And the arts are wonderful. It is really, it does beat digging a ditch. My father always said that because he was on radio and said, sure beats digging a ditch. And I went, yes, it does.
You and I both had lucky starts with this because you had your family.
Right.
My father worked in the business, knew Connie.
Right.
So at
How
a very
come your
young,
father never hired me?
I don't know if he knew you.
You should have told him. Maybe I'll send a demo. I don't know.
I barely knew you.
Oh, that's right.
So
That's true.
we had those introductions early. So if you're lucky enough to know, okay, I want to do this at a young age, fantastic.
Yeah.
But even if you're just discovering it now and you're in midlife and you want a career change, it's not too late.
One of our
you can
students
still.
tonight, last week, 2 weeks ago, I never know what to say because these are pre-broadcast, is somebody like that. He was in TV many, many years ago, and now he does something completely different, unrelated. And he said, I want to give this a shot. And he said, I'm about
Nice.
your age. And I went, excellent.
Perfect.
Excellent. I will not be giving you the names of my agents or anything else. So, because he's got a great voice already, and I don't like him. No, I'm not kidding. I do. But he's coming tonight to our workout last night,
The week ago, my new student.
By the
that's
way, I
coming
like
to
that
the
shirt,
workout.
Linda.
Oh, thank you. My new student that's coming tonight, she asked me, she said, what's the age group of the workouts? And I said, it's anywhere from early 20s to 60s.
Yeah.
And she's like, really?
Yeah.
I go, yeah. It is all walks of life, all different ages, because it doesn't matter. This
If you wanna
career is not.
Start.
Yeah, you just start. You don't need to be a certain age to do it.
Right.
But yes, so we have workouts this whole month in February. Join us every Wednesday night. A great way to, practice, and you get some good feedback with JJ and I. And we have a really good time. They're so much fun.
Yeah, we did. And I just want to mention really quickly that we were on a Middle Class VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell.
Yes.
And we just had such a blast. They are
It was great.
Wonderful people, and they're going to be joining us in the next couple of weeks on a podcast. So
Yes.
stay tuned for that. They're both extraordinarily talented. Kevin's
Our-
car read makes me angry because he's so good at it. I actually one night was watching television with Janine, and this guy came on doing a car spot. And I looked at her and I said, damn, that guy is good. Turns out he lives 12 minutes from me. And now we're friends. And so, no, I mean, but anyway, so look forward to that.
Yeah,
That's going to be a fun
our
one.
episode of the podcast with them just dropped this week, I think.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
You want me to pick it up for you?
This week, last week, it actually dropped 2 weeks ago.
Oh, it did. Okay.
But it's a middle class VO podcast if
Right.
you want to look it up. So excellent. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Again.
Well, thank you, Linda, for joining me and me joining you.
Yes.
And
yes.
yeah.
I'll see you for a workout tonight.
Oh, no, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I'm going to see you
Right.
for a workout.
Right, and I'll leave you with this. How do you keep the elephant from going through the eye of a needle?
I don't know.
Tie a knot at the end of its tail. Duh.
All right. Just email us at info@voiceover.guru and have a great day.